Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dork Trek. We are the longest running Star Trek review podcast on the internet. My name is Bob. I'm joined today by Jenny Zell and Benjamin McCormick. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, everybody. We are the premier Star Trek podcast.
We're the best.
Yep, I'd say all that stuff. We're the best dressed Star Trek podcast. We're the best looking Star Trek podcast. We do it all. We do it all.
Have Trek will travel.
Have Trek will travel. If you enjoy the show, you like the show, you want to help the show out, you can head over to patreon.com, search for Dork Trek, and we are there. I can't remember how many Patreons we said it would take for us to do a Law and Order podcast, but I think we're getting close.
I mean, I feel like we're already kind of doing a Law and Order podcast.
Well, not official. It's not official yet.
Well, it's the backdoor pilot.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to look at it, Ben. Right now we're at 25 Patreons, which is pretty good. So thank you to all 25 of you wonderful people that support the show. We really appreciate it. Pay for hosting and all that jazz. So, and again, if we get to what did we say, 50 or something, we do a Law and Order podcast.
Sure.
I say we up it by 25 each time we hit one of those milestones.
So we don't ever have to do a Law and Order podcast.
It's like, all right, guys, hey, we made it to 50, just 25 more, and we're there.
We're doing that Law and Order podcast.
So just like that's the longest running cop procedural on TV. We're the longest running Trek podcast.
It was on for like 27 years or something like that, Law and Order.
I was trying to think about that because, we keep talking about it. And it's like, I was in like high school when that came out, or at least freshman year. When did that start?
1990.
Okay, so I had just gotten out of high school and was a freshman in college that year.
There were 20 seasons of Law and Order. 456 episodes. That's insane.
Yeah.
But so
are there more episodes of Law and Order than there are of Star Trek?
Yeah.
50? No.
Yeah, well, because there's, if you count all the series, I'm sure there's more. There's more episodes of Law and Order and its spinoffs than of Star Trek and its spinoffs. Yes.
Is there?
Yeah, because there's 20 seasons of just the flagship show.
Yeah.
You got to think at this point now, like Law and Order SVU has been on for like 15 years or something like that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit, it has been on TV for, here I'm clicking that has been on for 20 seasons.
Jesus.
So there's 446 episodes of Law and Order SVU.
So right there, you're over 800.
Yeah. And that doesn't count CI or any of the other ones.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Because there's like 30 or 40 episodes of Star Trek, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even as much as 100.
Perhaps. So, yeah. So, wow, I still can't believe the show's still on. That's really weird. That there's 20 seasons of Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
I say that about so many shows, though, not just Law and Order. There's some shows that it's first season, I'm still like, man, I can't believe this is still on.
What is happening here?
What is life?
You know what, Ben? That's a really good way to look at everything. What is life?
I like turtles.
You know what? I really like turtles too. I've always wanted to have a turtle, but like when I was a kid, like they were salmonella risks, so my mom never bought me a turtle. But I always wanted like a little box turtle. I like the little ones, like they look like core. I always wanted one, but could never do it.
Turtles.
You know what? You're an adult now. You can live your dreams.
Yeah, but you know what? I live in dire fear of salmonella at all times.
Those childhood traumas.
Yeah, and like I don't even know why I eat chicken, because I'm deathly afraid to touch it like in its raw form. Like every time I touch chicken, like I immediately have to wash my hands like 10 seconds afterwards, or I'm gonna die from salmonella poisoning.
I mean, that's probably pretty healthy. Like I've gotten food poisoning way too many times in my life than I would care to admit. Maybe I'm doing something wrong and you're doing something right.
I don't know. I'm very paranoid about getting salmonella, especially
I just think touching dead chickens is gross.
They're tasty.
They're tasty once you cook them, but I hate I hate touching raw chicken. I cooked 2 turkeys this Thanksgiving, and it was the most disgusting thing. And like pulling the gizzards and everything out. And my daughter was supposedly helping me.
Good
and
for
when
you.
it got to that part, she was just like, the chopping stuff was fine, putting the vegetables in. And then when Daddy started pulling, stuff out of the innards of the turkey, she was just like, I'm going now.
I'm saucy.
And she just turned and walked out of the kitchen. And it's just like, that's it. Nope.
I would have helped you.
It's like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, Jenny said she would have helped you. See, all you have to do is ask, Ben.
I know.
So
guests.
You just want to complain. That's all. I like that about you, Ben.
That's part of the Thanksgiving magic.
You got to complain.
Miracle of Thanksgiving.
So, so this week's episode is called The Ascent. The Ascent.
It's like on The Price Isn't Right.
The Ascent / Odd Couple.
We finally got our Odd Couple episode.
Granted, it wasn't with the 2 characters I wanted to be an Odd Couple episode.
Really?
I didn't want a Nog and Jake Sisko Odd Couple episode.
No, but we got the Odo Quark Odd Couple episode.
Yes, but not in the sense of like they live in an apartment together and stuff, and one of them's a slob that wears a Mets hat, and the other one's super tidy and clean, and one of them smokes cigars all the time, and the other one's running around spraying Lysol on the other one, and that Odd Couple. This is just 2 guys stuck out in the wilderness. It's like that movie Alive without the cannibalism.
But
we almost
he tried.
Yes.
When you die, I'll eat you.
That's pretty. At least he's being honest about it. Like I'd rather have that conversation that like, look, if I'm dead, don't eat me, and then be like, yeah, okay, sure.
You're dead. How are you gonna know?
At what point did they not think, oh yeah, there's a lot of wood around here, maybe we could make a fire since it's so cold?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't think that.
Let me get one of these emergency phasers out of the dashboard. It's like Starfleet ships, to be a peaceful people of science, their ships usually have little pocket phasers every fucking where.
They're like those old West prostitutes that have those little derringers or whatever they're called, those little Behringer pistols everywhere.
Yeah. And just take one of those. And here's the thing, if you don't want to make a fire, you do the Sulu method. You just point it at a rock, you heat up the rock, now you got a warm rock.
Yeah, and you can lay on a warm rock.
Yep.
Now, is that
they were like on the move. How are they going to stop and like warm themselves on a fire?
They sleep.
Well, yeah, because this was over the course of days.
Yeah, we read this is kind of like, this is a mix of Alive and Lord of the Rings, where like Quark and Odo are Samwise Gamgee and fucking Frodo.
I'll carry it for you, Mr. Frodo.
I'll carry it for you, Mr. Odo.
Quark is Samwise.
You think Quark is Samwise?
Yep. Because he's the one that when the ring bearer couldn't go on, he saved the day. Samwise is the real hero of that movie.
Yeah, he is. I like Samwise Gamgee. I got to get back to reading that book, but then I started playing that. I was reading the book and I was doing really good, but then I started playing that dumb Star Trek game on my phone. I lost a lot of time.
I still got to check that out.
It's pretty fun.
Should I not? Like, it's going to suck up on my time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's kind of tedious in some aspects because in order to like level up and do stuff, you have to like, it's like a chain. I don't know how familiar you are with. This is my first experience in like phone games, if you will. But I imagine it's pretty standard. Like, if you want to make A happen, you have to do B and C.
Yeah.
But in order to do B,
it sounds basically like Mobile Strike or something like that, like that format of game.
Yeah, probably. And then like you level up your ships and you level up your station and like, yeah. So I don't know, but it's fun enough. Ben, the one thing that I think you would not like about it would be it's J.J. Abrams' Trek.
Right there, I'm out.
Yeah, it's like the models for the actors are J.J. Abrams' Trek. Like you can get the ship, the jellyfish that Spock was in the beginning of the first J.J. Abrams film. Nero is in the game. As like
everything.
Hi, I'm Nero. So that might be the one thing for you, Ben.
No, that wouldn't be the only thing, I'm sure. But
Jeez. All right.
It's not very canonical, I imagine, but it's a canonical. But it's fun. I like it. There's another one called Timelines that I've heard might be a little bit better story wise. So I don't know. I'm just I don't know.
I've played Star Trek Online for a while.
How is that?
It's what PC and PlayStation and stuff.
It's on PlayStation?
Yeah, I play it on PlayStation now.
Can you play it on PlayStation 3?
I don't know about that. I know it's on 4, and it tied up to my account that I had on PC. So that was kind of cool.
So you get to carry over your progress no matter what platform you're on?
Yeah. And
that's
so
cool.
I think so. But it had been so long since I played that I really didn't have any progress. So yes, it carried over. I had 0, and it carried over 0.
Nice.
So, nice. I basically made the account, and because my computer wasn't strong enough to play it at the time, I just got frustrated and quit. But
I've heard good things. It's got people play it, right? Like,
was it Captain Killy showed up this season? Because it does seasons.
Interesting.
The season where Geordie LaForge makes an appearance, and they usually get the actual actors to do the voices or whatever when they show up. So it's kind of cool. And so each season has a different story arc or whatever. And you can either participate in the main storyline or you can,
That's interesting.
do your own thing.
Yeah, right now it's only available on Xbox One or PS4, not on PS3.
Okay.
So there you go.
It's probably the processor because it's graphics intensive.
Yeah, it looks cool. I've always wanted to play it, but I only have Macs. It's not.
That's what I had.
Yeah, and you can't play it on Mac.
Yeah.
That's why Warcraft was cool, because you could play Warcraft on Mac.
That was what won me over for Warcraft over EverQuest, was that EverQuest, when they introduced Mac servers, they introduced Mac servers. So it's like, oh, you have to play on these 2 servers if you're a Mac, and the PCs have these other. And so if you'd already established characters and stuff, you have to start all over on a Mac. Whereas Warcraft was like, fucking log in anywhere, boys.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. You just play.
I really enjoyed Warcraft, but now that I'm playing D&D all the time, I don't really need it as much anymore, so I'm good.
I'm clean for 3 years now with Warcraft.
Good for you.
That's why I will play Warcraft, because people treat it as like a drug.
It is.
I haven't been playing it forever. I'm free of it.
I just stopped paying for it, or I think Nate commented on that when I made that post. I did the math. You have my condolences.
No, but you are exactly right though. I would play every year when I was on radio. I would take December and just play, and it was hard to stop, but it was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I though have gotten the expansions, and even when I couldn't play anymore, I would still pay the annual fee to keep the characters active. And then, it's like, oh, get this patch and we'll, bump one character 20 levels. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'll do that. I have no intention of playing. I have to keep my character fed.
I've always wanted to hop in, because every now and then I still get them, and I'm not really sure why, but I get a free week of Warcraft. And I'm like, man,
that's how they get you, man.
I would really like to play.
It's free.
Yeah.
You scroll down to the bottom of that page and you say, there's usually a link that says unsubscribe unsubscribe. Take me off this mailing list.
Never.
I don't want your drugs anymore.
Yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, Warcraft. The Star Trek game is okay. I was playing it a lot when I first downloaded. I'm kind of weaning myself off because it takes so long to do things too, which is kind of annoying. If you want to upgrade your operations center, it takes 10 hours. So, you can just start downloading stuff on your thing and then just turn it off for a while, I guess. I don't know. It's okay. Today is the least amount that I've played since I downloaded it, and I'm not missing it too much, if that makes sense.
If it's like the game that I'm thinking of, there used to be this kind of like a parody game called Progress Quest, and you would just download this, like, it's the most bare bones. It's not even a game. It's just you download it and you make your character, and it just has like a little progress bar, and all these little progress bars just kind of go through, and you just like, you just watch it. Your character goes on quests, and you don't literally do anything. You just let it run in the background. And we used to just be like, "Hey, I hit level 100 today." Good for me.
That's kind of what it is. Like, because like you get to fight other ships and stuff, and like you can fight other players, but like there's no strategy to it. You just hit attack, and then the planes come together, and then they just one explodes and one doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever.
I'm still hooked on Red Dead. I think I'll skip any new addictions for gaming.
Makes sense. Might as well.
It's bad enough at work that you know who the players are because there's several of us, and like somebody will walk through the break room and you'll hear, "Hey, fellers."
Howdy.
Howdy. I mean, people are starting to talk to each other in Arthur voice. All right, now stop.
It's a bunch of weirdos.
It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Like, even as I'm watching this episode, I'm like, man, Amberinos, that's rough. That's rough territory that they're climbing up this mountain. It's probably a dinosaur bone right over there.
It looked like the West Grizzlies to me.
Yes, exactly.
Now, that's the one thing that I thought when I was watching the show. Like, how difficult does it have to be to climb that mountain? Like, there's no way they could do that without like proper equipment, right? Like they don't have any like climbing gear. They're just two schmucks all with their hands and feet, right? Like there's no way.
And that thing looked like maybe not Everest, but it was at least Pikes Peak.
It's actually Mount Whitney in California.
Was that Mount Whitney?
Yes, which is 14,500 feet tall.
I should have known that since I used to serve on the USS Mount Whitney.
There you go.
That was on our logo. Some Star Trek fan.
What a poser.
To be fair, though, I haven't seen this episode since the 90s. So
I saw it a couple weeks ago on Heroes and Icons, and I liked it then, and I like it now.
Yeah.
It serves its purpose. It's a nice character piece. But yeah, so that's my whole, like, what I was watching, I was like, there's be no way they could just climb up that mountain unprepared like that, carrying like this transmitter that, as Star Trek's props go, looked mainly like a cardboard box painted gray with some like fucking like some switches on it, right?
It's made out of Legos.
Yeah, like that thing looked like that was the fakest looking Star Trek prop I've seen in a really long time.
But again, to be fair, like, they made this back in the 90s, and like so many old Star Trek episodes, it's like they haven't remastered this or anything.
Nah.
So it's, they were planning on you watching it on a TV screen that's like no more than like probably 27 inches or something like that, low definition. Now we're watching it on giant TVs, high def, and it's like, yeah, that makeup was rough. Like, you could see the bags under Odo's eyes in a couple of the scenes,
Put Netflix on your laptop. Sit the laptop across the room and watch it from at least 8 feet away on your at most 13 to 14 inch laptop screen, and it's like, wow, it's the 90s again.
Yeah, I will say I really did like Odo's Brad Pitt the river runs through it hair when it was like kind of tousled and like blonde and pulled back. I thought he looked real hunky. I was into that.
Would you say he had muscles?
Yeah.
Those things that are between the bones and the skin?
The skin, yeah.
Brokeback Star Trek.
Brokeback. I can't quit you, Odo.
Bob, I like how you're like a cat. You're just like playing with this.
Well, it's just right there, Jetty. I can't. It's like if I move over here, I feel like it's right in my head. I don't know. It's bugging me a little.
I don't blame you. I mean, I just,
People love cat videos. If I say like I'm a human cat, maybe we'll get a shit ton of views and people will be like, "This, I bet this show's awesome. This guy's a human cat."
Dude, just get you a pair of what's that little hair barrette thing? With the ears?
With the ears.
Get the ears at the next con you go to.
You're trying to turn Bob into a furry.
That's fine, whatever, man.
No, we need the Patreon.
Yeah, if we get Patreons, dude, I don't give a fuck.
If we get Patreons, I'll wear fucking ears.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to have one episode where we all just wear some sort of cat ears.
Yeah, like we'll actually review cats.
I've got the soundtrack.
Really? I've never listened to Cats.
Oh my god, anyway. Don't get me started.
Okay. All right. You know what?
It's one of my favorite Broadway plays.
Fair enough. I won't get you started. So this episode's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Odo is all like, Nog wants root beer and fucking his brother gets him root beer.
I want those root beer bottles.
Yeah, those root beer bottles were awesome.
The lids and stuff, that was pretty sweet.
Dude, now Jenny, do you enjoy root beer?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite brand of root beer?
Usually what I end up going for, if I can, is the Barks root beer. Nice.
An old standby.
Yeah. But like if I can find some kind of like weird, like I'm going to sound really hipstery, but some kind of like a craft,
like Virgil's. Have you ever had Virgil's?
No.
Ooh, it's good. They sell it at Kroger. It's like it comes in packs of 4. They have like a black cherry that's really good. And the Virgil's, I don't know if you're a fan of cream soda, but they're cream soda.
I love cream soda.
The Virgil's cream soda is delicious. Like just go to Kroger and like I think it's over in like the like where they keep like the fancy, I don't know, like do they have like an organic section at your Kroger?
I haven't been to Kroger in forever, but I'm sure that they do.
Yeah, like it's over there in like the natural section because like it doesn't have like it's fucking delicious. I love Virgil's.
And what is that one that they have at 58 Deli? Is it like Dr. Brown's?
Yeah, that one's good
something
too.
Like that. Yeah.
When's the last time you had a root beer float?
Too long. That's like my favorite things.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I've always been like a weirdo. Like when I was a kid, I would always go for root beer instead of Coke or Pepsi or whatever else. Mm-hmm. Root beer every time. Birch beer.
See, but the thing about root beer though is when you went to the restaurant, like it would like they would have like the IBCs or whatever, and as a kid you didn't get free refills on that. So once you drank it, it was gone. So I always tried to stay away from the root beer because I knew I couldn't control myself. I would just suck it down, and then I'd have to be good. Yeah, I'd have to be forced to drink water for the rest of the meal. So then the root beer was always a little bit more expensive. Like a soda would be like $1.50 with the root beer is like $2. Like, Mom, can I get root beer? Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
So
I'm still too cheap for that. Like if I go someplace that has a bottle or a can, I limit myself to one, and then I'm good.
Do they still make A&W root beer?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I haven't seen an A&W root beer in forever.
Yeah, and I'll usually get that one at, like if I'm trying to avoid sugar and stuff, because they have a diet root beer that's pretty good.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
They seem to be bigger in Japan.
Oh, they're big in Japan, you say?
Well, we had like the A&W restaurants in more places, and I never saw A&W restaurants in the United States except for at the airport.
Okay.
And then they closed it down and turned it into a Burger King.
Well, this looks. I just Googled root beer, A&W root beer, and I got a thing for the root beer stand. It's Cincinnati's best root beer in Sharonville. Maybe I'll let's The root beer stand. It's a wonderful eatery that signifies summer in Greater Cincinnati. Opened as an A&W root beer stand in 1957. Since then, Cincinnati Magazine has named it the best place to quaff a root beer in town. All right, maybe I'll have to check that out. It looks pretty yummy. I
will say points for the Peanuts reference.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
We would always go to the veterans bar on Wednesday and quaff some root beer.
After in France, after he defeated the Red Baron, him and all of his friends went out and had root beer. I love root beer.
I think that's why I may have started drinking root beer was Peanuts. And then I came back to it in my 20s because of Star Trek.
Okay, because of Nog and his obsession Rom and his obsession with root beer.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
What's the favorite drink with all the cadets at the academy?
Root beer. They like to pound root beers with squeak.
Well, no, they like to pound the Orion chick.
Yeah.
They drink root beer.
Yeah. With squeak. PJ, lift weights, drink root beer. Let's see. At the root beer stand, you can get root beer you can buy a gallon of. How much do you think? How much do you think a gallon of root beer costs at this place?
$35.
Okay, Jenny.
$10.
$5.
What?
For a gallon?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Now, is this like homemade root beer or something?
I'm not really sure. Let's see the history. I wonder if they do. I guess
boiling roots.
I guess I can call them to see if they make their own root beer.
You should go and report back to us.
I will. It's in Sharon. It's in Sharonville, so it's kind of a bit of a haul, but I could check it out.
Well, maybe they wouldn't complain so much if it was in Shelbyville.
Shelbyville.
This is more of a Shelbyville idea.
No, tell us whatever your idea is, and we'll vote for it.
No, I was thinking you might just do a Facebook Live on the Dork Trek page.
All right, so you can get a root beer float is $2. A small root beer float, $2. A large root beer float is $3.50. This sounds pretty good. They've got footlong. I haven't had a footlong hot dog in forever.
Why is it that places that do root beer floats, you're going to have a footlong hot dog on?
Because they just go together. Like that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, because if you went to a root beer place that had root beer and they didn't sell footlong hot dogs, you'd be like, "What is this fucking malarkey?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
Get your shit together.
Chili cheese sandwiches, no dog, just chili and cheese, burgers, sandwiches, pizza steak. All right, this might.
I kind of want that chili cheese sandwich.
Let's see. All right, let's see how the reviews are. The root beer stand. We're getting a lot of free publicity on this podcast. Out of 800, by the root beer stand, out of 852 Google reviews, they're 4.6 stars.
That's not too shabby.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I mean, a 5 would be better, but you got that one dumbass but my root beer float was cold. Shut up.
I've had better.
There's always that I've had better guy, and that guy sucks.
Mm-hmm.
They have hot floats over in Shelbyville.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not too far from my house. I kind of have an idea where this is. All right, maybe next time I go to, I bet the kids would like to go there because they have root beer floats and shit. Maybe I'll take the kids. All right.
That's good. Nice little field trip.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'll have a live remote. This is, see if we can get a sponsor.
My children are obsessed with Slurpees.
Oh.
Like they love Slurpees. And here, there's no 7-Elevens in southwestern Ohio. So I Googled like the distance to the closest 7-Eleven, and there's some in Toledo, which is about 3 hours away. And I told the kids that over spring break during the summer, I would drive them to Toledo and get Slurpees and come home. I said, we'll make a day trip of it. They were like, that's fucking awesome.
That's kind of awesome.
Maybe catch a Mud Hens game.
Yeah, my wife was like, you're an idiot. I'm like, whatever. It'd be a way to kill a day. Like, we just drive to fucking Toledo. I'm sure there's something else to do in Toledo. We could go see Corporal Klinger's house.
There you go.
Also, that's the shit, though, that kids are going to remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So... I mean,
they'll probably be talking about that for the next 10 years. Like, I remember the time we went and got Slurpees. That's great.
We went to Toledo.
Wow.
Well, yeah, for us, it's like, okay.
Toledo, Ohio for Slurpees. So, but yeah, where were we in this episode?
To the beginning.
No, we got a little bit further than that, I think, right?
So Quark, I guess, while we're waiting for Nog to come home, I guess he's going to do his year of fields. We have to have some way to bring Nog back. So suddenly there's this thing where cadets go on like field studies or something for their sophomore.
He's an intern.
Yes, he's an intern.
Yeah. And so he gets to come back to the station. Jake's moving out. I thought it was really cool interaction between father and son on this.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think, I don't know, they're one of the coolest family units that Star Trek generated. Makes me wish I had a father. But anyway,
I will be your father figure, Ben. Put your tiny hand in mine.
Oh.
You
I thought you're going to ask him to call you daddy.
You want to go get Slurpees? Well, I would have got there in the song, but it didn't get that far. But yeah, you want to go get Slurpees, Ben? Come on, let's do it.
Nobody ever drove 3 hours for me. But anyway, so, Jake's moving out, and we find out he's going to room with Nog. But then while Rom is setting up for Nog's return, Odo comes and, I guess, arrests Quark.
Yeah.
He's got to go to a Federation grand jury on this other planet.
Dun dun.
Dun dun. Law and Order shit, son.
He's coming back, 25 to life. And
he's a bad dude. He's a bad seed. You got to lock him up for life.
But while they're on the way to the planet's like what, 8
days away.
Yeah, by runabout.
They really wanted Quark. Like, he's an important figure in this this crime.
And so, of course, Star Trek being Star Trek, I guess we find a bomb on board, and then they crash.
Think about how far that has to be, though. Like, it takes 8 days to get there. Like,
yeah, but you're talking interstellar travel, and you're talking the runabouts don't have like Enterprise type warping.
They still have warp capabilities, though, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely, but they're not like
it's not like warp 9.
Yeah, and then it's one of these things where the warp speeds go. It's not like a steady growth. It's like it ramps up. So the Enterprise can go, warp 9 sometimes. And that's like way faster than warp 6.
Yeah.
And warp 5. But then again, warp 5 by, our standard is insanely fast.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that must have been like, clear on the other side of the fucking warp, like the galaxy at that point.
No.
Yeah.
No.
8 days?
It's 4 days from Earth to Vulcan.
Like, going how fast though?
Warp 6.
Okay, so how fast is this runabout going?
Probably,
give or take.
What's the top speed of a runabout?
Let's look.
If anybody on the show would know, it's you, Ben.
I can give $2 about a runabout.
What?
Well, the thing, it pisses me off because when we first really see the inside of a runabout, it's on TNG on the episode when they come back and the Enterprise had the catastrophic. What is it? It's the one where he keeps talking and talking without ever taking a breath to give you a break to interrupt. That one.
Mm-hmm.
And we see like the dining area so there's like this whole compartment for them to have sleeping areas and food. And so this whole thing of sitting on the bridge eating is ridiculous because you just do that in the dining area.
Okay, so according to Stupid Memory Alpha,
mm-hmm.
Warp 5.
Okay.
So
the speed of the NX-01.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Now, is this a thing where they wouldn't necessarily go warp 5 because it puts too much strain on the engines, so maybe they're like averaging like warp 3 or something like that?
Probably 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but even if they're going warp 4 for 8 days, that's got to be clear on the other side of the fucking galaxy.
It sounds like a flashback to an algebra class.
I don't know, man, because like how long
about left?
The SAT for nerds.
The SAT is for nerds. I'm just saying that because like I didn't take one to go to college.
Yeah, I didn't do well. I didn't do well out of the first. I did much better the second time.
See, we didn't have the SAT. We had the ACT in my hometown.
Okay.
Alabama was one of those states.
The Alabama crap test that you got to take to get to college. Yep, you got to take that Alabama test. Do you know the words to Camptown Lady? All right, you're good. Go to college. Have fun.
Oh, I thought I was about to start singing. So I was like,
so, okay, you figure if you're in a runabout going to Earth at warp 3, how long would that take?
well, hold on, I'm pulling up.
Get like a calculator.
I'm just saying.
Calculator.
No, there's a warp speed calculator. I'm pulling it up.
Interesting.
The
internet's just the best.
Boop, boop, boop.
We want TNG.
And I like how we're going to believe ourselves. Like we're going to believe whatever we see on the internet just because it's on the internet.
So you want 8 days at warp factor, say 5, right? Which is 213.75 times the speed of light. And we are going to take distance. How many? Why won't you find distance?
Why won't you find distance?
Oh, I have to hit calculate.
Well, there you go. That's on you, Ben.
At warp 5, for 8 days, they can travel 4.6 light years. 4.68 light years.
Okay, so that's not too far.
That's like from here. That's a little further than from here to the nearest star. So Alpha Centauri is 4 point something light years away, 4.2.
Okay.
So this is just a little past Alpha Centauri for us. So that it's in the neighborhood.
Okay, all right. It just seems really far.
But that's if their top speed is warp 5. Because if it was warp 6, they could go twice.
Yeah, but we were saying that they might have been going like warp 4 because they don't know if they're going to push the engines that hard.
Yeah, and see, that's only like 2.25 light years away. So that's I don't think they're going to do that. Especially, I mean, like I said, warp 6. If you could do that, that's going to get you, you know.
I kind of think that maybe we've just put more thought into how long it took than that it took them to write the episode.
Yeah, now that you've brought that out, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just an interesting.
A lot of plot things don't stand up to
logic.
Well, to examination.
Right. It's like, oh well, it's going to take 8 days. That's how long we need for this plot device.
Ahead, plot factor 5.
You know, it just seemed like a really long time, and I was just curious about how long it would take. Well, that's all.
It's a long time. It's just not a long distance.
Okay.
By their standards.
All right. Fair. So, you know what? Fair enough.
Would be my thoughts.
I feel you. Again.
Yep. Ben, did you really seem to connect with Quark in the scene where like he's losing his goddamn mind because Odo was like slurping his soup or whatever?
Yes.
Can't you hear that noise?
Why are you doing that?
I can't hear anything over the noise of all this lip smacking. I was like, I'll punch you in the goddamn shape.
I mean, to be fair, he's just learning how to eat. I think Odo's being a bit. I think Quark's being a bit hard on the man, right?
Well, after a couple of days, and this is basically them in an RV for a couple of days.
Well, also he's got 2 giant satellite dishes on the sides of his head.
That's true.
So he's probably picking up a lot more sound than anybody else would.
All right, you know what? Fair enough. I'll give you that.
I'd get one of the environmental suits, go back to the living area, and just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's probably doing it just to mess with Odo. Just to mess with Quark. I'm sure that's a big part of it as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it was.
Looks like anytime you mention that mouth noise bothers you, there's always that one asshole in the group who then, like, you son of a bitch. So then I start doing the banana noise.
Yeah.
No, stop. No, let's move on.
Yeah.
Brought it up.
We'll never speak of this again.
I saw the comedian who said he did that on planes to freak people out. And so, me being me, I wanted to try that. And I waited for the person to look like they were dozing off, and I just turned and went.
That's really nice of you, Ben.
Yeah. And the guy wakes up and just looks over and goes, "What the fuck is your problem?" I'm back to my book.
Slow down, buddy.
It's like, that was a boom boom, baby.
We're trying to share the space together, friend. No need to be a cockhead.
You priests get so upset about the littlest things. But, so we crash. Now here's
we just don't crash. There's a bomb.
Yeah, there's a bomb that makes them crash.
Well, because
we find out he's hooked up with the Orion Syndicate.
Yes, he is, and the Orion Syndicate is like a big bad group of like space criminals.
Yeah,
space mafia.
Well, you're pretty much. That's where the Orion slave girls come from, and
okay.
Hey now,
there's a lot more of that detailed on Enterprise.
I saw an episode yesterday about the girls that were on the ship seducing everybody, making them give up secrets and stuff.
Yep, when we find out the secret of the Orion slave girls.
Yeah.
They're the ones who actually run the society.
Yeah.
I would like to see like a spin-off that's basically like The Sopranos, but it's the Orion Syndicate. And they just cut to like the Orion slave girls strip club every 5 minutes for no reason.
I just want the Orion, the fat nose breather that controls the garbage pickup for the garbage scows.
Orion Waste Management.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Let's get that done. CBS needs shows. I mean, that's what they're all about. Now.
Have you thought about the number of shows they're putting on All Access?
It's cool. We talked about this a little bit last week.
Mm-hmm.
There's Discovery. There's the new Picard show. There's the Khan miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Below Decks animated thing.
See, I didn't know about the Khan things. That's pretty exciting.
Well, no, you have to listen to the Patreon to get the details on that because it tells some secrets.
We really didn't talk too much about it. He's lying.
Well, because I said who was writing and directing it. So that's
I forget.
Guess I need to chip in $1 and listen to my own show that I'm on.
I know somebody. I'll hook you up.
Well, I made a dummy account, and then I just, I put a fake one of those stolen credit cards from the dark
He's
web.
a Russian bot.
There you go.
Pay
me $1's a dollar.
Yeah. Well, no, until it comes. I have to constantly change it though. Anyway, yeah. So that's what, like 5 shows that are coming out. I may have forgotten one.
I want an Odd Couple.
Mm-hmm.
An Odo and Quark Odd Couple after the events of Deep Space Nine, when I guess Odo gets divorced and Quark get divorced. They live together in an apartment on Deep Space Nine. That's what I want to happen. A situational comedy. It's got to be better than the new Odd Couple they did with Matthew Perry and that other guy.
Yeah. Will it be as good as the one they did with Ron Glass?
Was that the second movie they did?
No. There was the African American Odd Couple.
That's right.
In the 80s with Ron Glass, and I can't remember who the other one was, but I thought Ron Glass was the neat freak. And the only reason I watched it was because he was from Barney Miller.
The new Odd Couple. Jack Lemmon. Let's see here. The new Odd Couple is starring Ron Glass and Desmond Wilson.
Okay.
That's the guy from Sanford and Son. He played Ralph. He played what's his face there. He played Oscar Madison.
Yep.
Desmond Wilson. How long did that show run? 1 season, 18 episodes.
Yeah. I, for whatever reason, got on this whole.
The Pigeon Sisters are in it too. Wow, that's cool.
I got on a trip of watching the fall previews. I don't know if you remember those from when you were a kid. I think when you guys were kids, they were just kind of weaning off of them. But back in the 70s and 80s, every September, each network would take an evening and you would just devote that evening pretty much. It'd be some Friday evening for, hey, coming this fall to ABC. And then you would get like...
They would hype it up.
You'd get the stars from one of the shows. Maybe not the stars. So just... And it wasn't. But just say, for instance, that TNG was the... on a network, you wouldn't have got Picard and Riker. You'd have had like Worf, Geordi, and maybe Data.
Yeah, and they'd be talking to Mary Hart about this. Yeah.
What was it? The Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing?
Yeah, they did that this year on NBC.
Yeah, and it was like so weird as they went through the lot, and then they would run into the other stars of shows. Oh, we're coming back for our next season, and and here's some clips. So I went down that rabbit hole watching the old ones from back in the day. Because a lot of them are on YouTube. And I got to see Gilligan and Skipper interact with Colonel Hogan. But there was the one with Ron Glass. And,
wasn't Ron Glass on? Wasn't he one of the grandfathers on the Cosby Show? Or am I thinking?
That's what I was thinking.
No, not Ron Glass. That was.
He looks like the guy.
That was the guy who played Panthro. No, okay. Ron Glass was Preacher on Serenity.
Yeah, he was also he was on the Bob Newhart Show. He was on All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Hawaii Five-0, Barney Miller. He was on WKRP. But he looks like the guy who was the stepdad or one of the grandfathers on the Cosbys, but it's not him.
Mm-mm.
I was thinking that too until like I actually looked at his picture, and the second I looked at him, I was like, no, that's not him. But as soon as I look away, it's like, no, that could be him. I think so.
Oh, him old looks like him, but he wasn't that old when Cosby was on.
Right. Gotcha.
He was that old in the early 2000s.
And then Desmond Wilson is a born-again Christian.
Of course he is.
He wrote a book called like The Second Fiddle, where it's about his being on Sanford and Son, Second Banana, a book about Sanford and Son. Do yourself a favor and watch the second Comedians in Cars episode with Bob Einstein, who just passed away. He tells the best story about Red Fox. It's fucking hilarious. Just watch it. It's so funny.
That show's fantastic.
I love that show.
John Sanford.
Speaking of things that I love Star Trek and I love Deep Space Nine. I love this episode. Lord of the Rings, man, they climb to the top of Mount Doom and they put up their thing and good stuff happens.
Can I ask a question, though?
Sure.
I want to punch Jake in the neck. I usually end up liking Jake, but...
He's so skinny. You'd probably break his neck.
It's just like, so you get up, you move into this apartment, Nog gets up, goes to work, comes home 9 hours later, and I get it if you, over the course of a week, get a room that messy, but it literally looks like Jake just stood there and threw things across the room all day.
Yeah.
And then sat down in his own filth to read or play. I did like the fact that we have Facebook games on, the pads now.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that too, and I love the fact that he just calls him out like, "Oh, you're reading?" He's like, "No, you're not. You're playing Tom John, bitch."
Well, when I'm writing, I have to relax.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And play Bejeweled Blitz for 18 hours. So yeah. I got that was totally believable.
Like,
been there, done that.
Playing the Star Trek game really helps me clear my mind for 13 hours.
I got a hard chapter I'm working on right now, and this Red Dead Redemption is going to help me ease up on it.
Mm-hmm.
But well, no, but it's just like, what the hell did he do to this room? And then what's the living situation?
He's an artist, Ben. You don't understand.
None of us do.
I just broke Ben.
Why would you do that to Ben? Why? What? God,
again, I know artists who get messy, and they eventually get this state of disarray, but not 9 hours.
Well, it's kind of like, think about it like this, though. Think about it like this with your children, right? Like, you can clean, like, my daughter is 9. Granted, she's not, 19. Yeah. But we can go in there and pick up her room, and then 20 minutes later, it looks like a fucking bomb went off, and there's just shit all over the place. So, I mean, if you have no sense of...
Well,
Some people are just messy, Ben.
And then it's like, what kind of space is this? You walk in the door and there's one bed, and then there's the common area.
Yeah, and then there's another
the other bed and another door.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable living conditions.
It's definitely odd. I'll give you that.
There's no way
It's an odd couple.
I mean, one, they're going to hear each other spanking it. If they bring any Dobble girls over, they're going to hear that. There's no way to seal your room.
Can they just put a sock on the door or something? Is that how it goes?
Well, then you're out of the entire apartment.
Well, that's the kind of sacrifice you'd make for your bro.
It's true.
Just go down to the promenade and just chill out for a little bit.
Sleep in the bar.
Well,
But he's 19. It's going to take him like 5 minutes.
I'll let you know when it's done.
I don't know. Jake's got some endurance going on there. He's learned from the Dobble girls.
And he remember that one mind chick lady? The one lady with the brain with the thing? I'm sure you know.
But she had him under like some kind of like mind control.
Yeah.
She was teaching him how to edge.
Yeah, she was like,
he didn't forget how to do that. So he's,
we can figure this stuff all out together. So, yeah, eventually Odo and Quark get into physical altercations because they just hate each other so much. They get into fights and fall over. And
I hate you.
I hate you too.
And then they tumble down the mountain, and Odo becomes a changeling again, and his leg takes a new shape.
Odo breaks his leg, and
the shape of broken.
Quark helps him out and drags him up the hill, and then it just kind of goes on and then Quark can't go any further, and then Odo says, I'll do it myself. And then Quark is like, no, I'm gonna save us. And then he climbs up this mountain somehow. He's not even carried on it. Like, I don't understand how he's holding this thing on the side of the mountain as he tries to climb the mountain with one hand. It doesn't make sense. But he gets up there somehow because Odo or Quark is a magic climber.
Yeah. But I will say, though, the scene just before that, Odo was like my grandmother in that scene. Where it's like, I'll do it myself.
About Dracula's?
Yeah. Well, no, when he's got the broken leg, and he's like, and Quark is like, I can't go on. So then Odo, fine, I'll do it myself, and starts shoving it with his broken leg. So
he's gonna walk off that broken leg.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that he's going to guilt you into it. It's like, oh no, I'll help you move the refrigerator in a minute. Let me put this box down.
I'll
do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so the walking off broken leg, that's my grandmother.
Yes. Yes. Your grandmother's the one that, 2 artillery shells, and she's like, meh, it's a scratch.
I don't need a doctor. I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'll be fine.
I'm good.
What are you worried about?
Put some Neosporin on it.
Why? She's not weak. She doesn't need medicine.
She literally had a tube of Neosporin that was around since like the 80s.
I remember the picture I saw on Facebook, and it was like, oh my God.
My sister found it like in the metal tube.
Nice.
From like a vintage 1982 Neosporin.
That's awesome.
No, it expired in 82.
It expired in 82?
So it had been made in God knows when.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what Odo was trying to do that. And then
it worked?
Well, yeah, because then Quark's like ashamed of his weakness and
climbs the mountain, gets him up there, and they get him home.
It was a little tropey though that Odo's doing his final report.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just put my ashes in a bucket and you shoot me into the wormhole. Really,
it was a little over dramatic.
It's really odd request, and he's got like the bloody hands like on his knuckles and like his Brad Pitt hair, and not the worst episode, but yeah, it's definitely hacky. And then all of a sudden they get free. They're on the ship and like, oh, remember all that stuff I said about hating you? I meant every word. And then it just turned into like grumpier old men.
I enjoyed that. Was my favorite part of it was them laying in the hospital at the end.
Yeah, me too.
Just that whole just getting a good laugh out of it. Of I hate you. I meant it too. I hate you. And it's like,
yuck, 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 and then it's over. But I mean, overall, it's a good episode. I mean,
well, and then Jake and Nog though also figure out how to live with each other, and Jake learns to be a little bit more responsible, and Nog learns to not be such an uptight cadet.
He's a little bit country, he's a little bit rock and roll, and they figure it out.
Mama played fiddle, Daddy played bass.
Yep. So then they figure it out together. So there you go, and everybody wins. Dun, 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 dun.
Yay. Everyone's happy.
Well, I think you kind of needed an episode like this after last week being so heavy with like Odo, not commenting about if innocent people died on his watch when he was the head of security of DJ.
But I like that this wasn't like a completely like fluff episode either. It wasn't just like a holodeck episode or something like that. There was like a lot of good character building in it.
I would have rather not had this episode now though.
Why is that?
Last episode, we did need a breather episode. I just don't think it should be a Odo breather episode. Just like how with TNG, when Picard got assimilated, the next episode, and they had to, if you remember from the book, they had to fight hard to get this episode, but they did the one where he comes back and deals with the PTSD with his brother.
Yeah.
You need to, and I'm not saying he needed something that dramatic, but he needed an episode where he could just, kind of, okay, let's
deal with his life issues.
It's not good. We don't even have to mention it, but we just have a Odo light episode. So that way he could be off having time to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have like a Jake meets a Dabo girl episode or something if we needed a light one.
So you're saying like they should have spaced it out a little bit better.
I think so.
All right.
That makes sense.
All right. Well, what do you think then? What do you give the episode then, Ben?
I still liked it, so I'll give it, a 7.
All right. Jenny, what do you say?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
All right.
It was not my favorite, but it was a good character building episode. It was all right.
I agree with you, Jenny. I like 6.5. It was good. It was good enough to keep my attention. These are my two favorite characters, like non-Starfleet character. Actually, and I think Quark is probably my favorite character on the show. So it was good to kind of see some stuff about him and, I like the scene where they were yelling at each other. It's like, and Odo's telling him that he's a failure as a 2-bit thug and he's a failure and blah, blah, blah. And then Quark fires back, well, you spent 10 years trying to capture me and I'm a nobody. So what does that make you? And it was just kind of a cool back and kind of a cool.
That was definitely my favorite scene.
Yeah.
You're the bigger failure because you couldn't even catch a loser like me.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool. Like I really enjoyed it.
Double burn.
Yeah, there was some sick burns going on in that one. I'm a loser. Oh yeah, well so am I. We're both losers. So there you go.
Good episode.
Good episode. Good episode. All right, well that's the show this week. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate your listening.
Yes.
We will be back next week with another episode of Dork Trek. So there you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Wonderful.